Hi, good evening, and welcome to the school committee meeting of Tuesday, February 13th, 2024. I'd like to welcome everyone and call the meeting to order. We are remote tonight. When the school got canceled, we switched our school committee meeting to remote. And the agenda will be abbreviated because the students and the teachers that we had scheduled won't be joining us this evening. But we look forward to having them at our next meeting. So we will start with the Pledge of Allegiance, as we always do. Okay, I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I think
Recording
that was
in progress.
Oh. Okay. The reading of the mission statement will be next. The vision of the Wakefield Public Schools is to graduate students who are confident lifelong learners, who are respectful and caring members of the community. Our mission is to prepare students for college, career, and community by providing rich and challenging curriculum, high quality instruction, and educational experiences that meet their individual needs and interests. Now I'm going to ask if anyone on the Zoom, which WCAT can see you, if you have a public comment, if you could just raise your hand and they will let you into the meeting room to give your public comment. Okay, see somebody joined. Jason, do you have a public comment? If you don't, that's okay. You're still welcome. You would just unmute yourself and speak. Okay, I won't torch you anymore. And we don't have any, unless you're a student advisory council. No, okay. So we don't have any students, given the snow day again, and we'll move on to the consent agenda. Stephen, do you have a consent agenda?
I do. Move that the school committee approve the minutes of the January 3rd, 2024 school committee meeting and accept the minutes of the January 30th, 2024 school committee policy and communications subcommittee meeting as presented.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, we're going to do a roll call vote.
Ms. Lehman,
Yes.
Mr. Davis,
Yes.
Ms. Colleran,
Yes.
Dr. Piscadlo,
Yes.
Mr. Ingles,
Yes.
Mr. Markham,
Yes.
Mr. Fontanella.
Yes.
Okay, passes unanimously. Thank you. We have the superintendent remarks portion of our agenda. Superintendent Lyons is in a conference tonight. And so Miss Morrow, the assistant superintendent, is sitting in for Doug. I didn't know if you had anything, Kara. I know the two items that were on there were teacher and student visits, and they're not here this evening.
I think what we have planned tonight, we'll just look ahead to next time on the 27th. It was exciting. We're going to hear about virtual field trips that are happening at the Woodville School. And then we also are fortunate to have third grade teachers from every building and students who will be reading some of the recent writing they did on a unit out of our new ELA curriculum. So I think that will be better in person anyway. So we'll go ahead and move that to the next meeting if possible. But other than that, I think you're all up to speed.
Thank you.
I apologize for the lack of snow on this snow day. Didn't turn out how we hoped, but yeah, thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you. Christine, do we have budget items this evening?
We do. We have a financial packet that's in your school committee packet tonight. So you have the financial report that is through January 31st. It shows the remaining balance. It is just over 7%. It's 7.5% remaining of the budget for fiscal 24. So at this time for the local budget, Doug and I, we have initiated a budget freeze at this time because we've been monitoring spending. So for the local budget, not for grants, not for revolving accounts, But for the local budget, we've put a freeze on non-payroll related expenditures. Now, of course, this doesn't include special education or utility costs or any emergencies, but just for textbooks, instructional supplies, some contracted services, we've put a budget freeze in for now, just until we've finalized the Unit A contract and we finalized all of our immediate expenditures for this year. So we're going to reevaluate again in the next month or so, but just to kind of let you know what we're looking at for the local budget. Again, the grants, we're quite spending down to finish all the grants that must be spent by June 30th. And the revolving accounts, again, are really being spent for this fiscal year. We have a couple more months for circuit breaker, and we'll have some more expenditures coming out of that line as well. So does anyone have any questions for the January 31st financial report?
I don't see any questions. Thank you.
Just also to let you know, we're going to be talking a little bit more in the month of March is all budget. So we'll have for you the budget document probably right at the Monday after school vacation week. Oh, there's someone speaking. So we'll have the budget book coming out soon. It's going to be a little bit larger than last year's. We've added about 30 pages. I know you're so excited to get your book and to read, but we really did a deep dive into the revolving accounts and all special revenue, what the past trends for spending, what the forecast is, and what all those accounts can be spent on. So we've really worked really hard this year on what all special revenue can afford, because I know that was a lot of conversation for last year's budget. So the budget timeline, we'll have the discussion on March 12th. We'll have public hearing on March 19th, which will be a special meeting for school committee. I don't know if that's going to be on Zoom or in person. We still have to talk about that, but that's on March 19th for the public to come and just say, hey, this is what we want to talk about in the budget. We've finished all of our meetings with faculty, staff, with principals. And Doug and Kara and we've sent out a budget survey. So we're anxious to get those results. So, and then we'll have the vote for you on March 26th. So there'll be some meetings with FinCom. We've already had a meeting with our liaisons. So March will be very busy. Great. And I think we have some payrolls to be voted on.
We do. Move that the school committee approve payroll warrants number 28 and number 30 as presented.
Second.
A motion's been made and seconded. Is there any discussion? Seeing none. Roll call vote, please.
Ms. Lehman,
Yes.
Mr. Davis,
Yes.
Ms. Colleran,
Yes.
Dr. Piscadlo,
Yes.
Mr. Ingles,
Yes.
Mr. Markham,
Yes.
Mr. Fontanella.
Yes.
It passes unanimously. Thank you. And we have a gift, I see.
We do. We have one gift.
Move that the school committee accept with gratitude the donation of $3,169 from the Wakefield Boys Soccer Boosters Club, a stipend for one assistant soccer coach for the 2023 fall season.
Second.
A motion's been made and seconded. Is there any discussion? Seeing none. Roll call vote, please.
Ms. Lehman,
Yes.
Mr. Davis,
Yes.
Ms. Colleran,
Yes.
Dr. Piscadlo,
Yes.
Mr. Ingles,
Yes.
Mr. Markham,
Yes.
Mr. Fontanella.
Yes.
Passes unanimously. Thank you for the gift. Anything else, Christine?
No, unless anyone has any budget questions, but that's it for tonight.
We're saving all our questions for March.
Can't
Thank
wait.
you. Yeah. So now the section is chair's comments. I don't have any comments, but I'm going to ask that Stephen Ingles share a negotiations update.
Yeah, I would love to. This past Saturday, the WEA leadership and our negotiations team met for roughly 6 hours, at the conclusion of which we had reached a tentative agreement on a contract for the Wakefield teachers. I think it was a long process, over 13 months, sort of everyone working together. And then in the end, was a long Saturday to sort of bring it to a close. So I think that's good. We can kind of move forward. That'll feed into the budget process now that we have some knowledge of where our numbers are going to be. But just wanted to sort of say thank you for everyone that was involved, with everyone's teamwork and the commitment sort of to the district, the schools, the students. It wasn't always the easiest, but you knew that sort of everybody around the table had sort of Wakefield's best interests at heart. And so it's hard, but it's an all right place to sort of have that discussion. So right now it's a tentative agreement. The WEA, the Wakefield Education Association, will need to sort of present that agreement to their membership, and then they will need to ratify it. If that does happen in the coming weeks, then it will come back to the school committee for a full vote on the contract, at which point we'll be able to sort of go through all of the sort of smaller details of what's embedded in the new contract. So I think overall it's a great sort of win for everybody involved. I know there everybody was sort of nervous about it as it dragged on, but it was a good close. So I think it's a good contract for teachers.
Does anyone have any questions for Stephen? Oh, go ahead, Pete.
I just want to pass on my thanks, Stephen, to yourself and the other members of the Labor Subcommittee, the members of the WEA negotiation team and administration. I know how hard all of you worked together on this, and just wanted to share my appreciation for everyone's hard work.
I think we can all get behind that and say the same. So it was it was Stephen Ingalls, Kevin Piscadlo, and Tom Markham that were the negotiation subcommittee. So thank you. And there was the Wakefield Education Association there was a bigger team, and I don't want to announce them because I don't want to miss anyone, but it was a good collaboration, I think. Sounds like it. So I look forward to when we can share the details. No other comments or Stephen, no questions? Okay. Subcommittee reports. Finance and facilities, Tom?
Yes, thank you. We had a finance and facility subcommittee meeting last week since our last school committee meeting. We had invited and had full participation from our town finance committee liaisons. We had a vibrant conversation around fiscal 25 planning. Christine and the superintendent gave an update on where we were in fiscal 24, especially with the appreciation for the need for a budget freeze to be able to accommodate the end of year in an appropriate and fiscally sound way. I think we certainly got some understandable and expected feedback from our FinCom liaisons about future planning, the type of things that we are looking to do, as well as what might be our group expectation around where we would land with the teacher contract. At this point, meaning during the meeting, we had not obviously had the tentative agreement yet. So really, because we were in those negotiations, really wasn't a lot of detail that we could share at that meeting as well. But certainly at our next finance facilities subcommittee meeting, which we'll have at least one or two of them, following up on Christine's report earlier, we'll have at least one or two meetings in the month of March as well, as we all get ready for not only the presentation to the school committee, but then the public hearing, then our public hearing, and then our vote at the end of the month. So I will just say that it was a good conversation with the finance committee, our liaisons. I think we got understandable and expected, feedback about And we were also able to share what we believed and what the administration, represented as a belief of what it's going to take to best support, teaching and learning in fiscal 25 and beyond. So it was a healthy exchange.
Thank you. Labor and personnel, I don't know if you have anything else to add, Stephen?
I do not. Now I gotta figure out what labor and personnel is gonna do. Need to put some more meetings on the books. That'll be forthcoming.
Okay, thank you. Student services, Eileen?
Yeah, we met yesterday, and we're still plugging along and discussing and researching some late start times, and just kind of in the research phase of everything, and more to come.
Thank you. Policy and communications, Kevin?
So our subcommittee has not met since our last full meeting. But I'm happy to report that we did get some feedback from staff and administration about our homework policies and homework guidelines. So we are looking forward to discuss that at our next policy subcommittee meeting, which due to schedule conflicts, we have not been able to schedule for this week. We plan to meet the week after break.
Thank you. Keep getting breaks next week. Liaison reports. Does anyone have anything? Oh. Liaison reports? Pete, go ahead.
So the Human Rights Commission, I think it was last night, had a virtual program from a presenter from Understanding Our Differences. They're running a program across, I believe, 3 elementary schools. I think Greenwood had their own program this year, so they weren't included as part of it. But it was a nice program where they just talked to parents about some of the things they're talking about in the program. And, it's kind of unfortunate that not a lot of parents heard what the speaker had to say, but I know that presentation was recorded and will be shared with anyone that would like to watch it later on.
Thank you.
I would see.
Oh, yeah, go ahead.
Okay. March 9th is Parent University, and Rosie Galvin will be giving a presentation on the new IEP there. CPAC Superheroes is in May. They're going to ask for nominations again, like they did last year, of who's the superhero in your school. And that was like really well received last year and everything. So they're going to be doing that again. I know it's a little ways away in May, but just something to think about. And then there was, I think, yes, it was last month, they had the collaborating with your school district. If anyone missed that, it was recorded, and there are documents and stuff that you can use, and you just have to reach out to Rosie Galvin and she will send that over to you.
Thank you. I'm the liaison for the Environmental Sustainability Committee, and they met last week. We welcomed the new student representatives, I guess you would call them. I think there were 2 from but one's a youth council representative, and then there's student representatives. So 2 of them, or there are 3. I take terrible notes. Introduced themselves, and they participated in the conversation. Especially, we talked a lot about STEAM night, because the Environmental Sustainability Committee is going to have a table, and they were just trying to gather ideas what they should do to when kids come over to the table, and the student representatives have some really good insight on what kids would actually be interested in. And I know they're waiting to get feedback on the Wakefield Public Schools science curriculum that we're reviewing. Do you think that'll still be on the 27th?
So I was thinking about moving that, if it was okay with you and the rest of the committee, until I think the March 12th meeting.
Okay.
If that was okay.
Yeah.
They're still in the middle of the science, technology, engineering curriculum review, but they wanted to give a midpoint update. So if that works, we could report out more on that in March, and that'll be right before theme night too.
Okay, great. But that was the only updates I had from them. I think that's it. I don't see any other hands. So now we're moving on to our next school committee meeting is Tuesday, February 27th, and it's currently scheduled at 7 o'clock. We did start a little later tonight, but we're trying to go back to 7 o'clock start times. Are there any agenda items that anyone would like? Pete?
Sorry, mine wasn't an agenda item. It was a comment. So I'll wait until the next section.
Oh, we're skipping ahead. Is there any agenda items? Okay, I don't see, which is great because we're going to be busy in March with the budget. But if you ever have an idea, just you can always email. And then we'll go to school committee comments. Pete, do you want to go first?
Yes, I have a couple of comments. Number one, many of our fellow school committee members have joined me on the tours we've had of various schools. We've also been lucky enough to have some of our town councilors join us, as well as our town administrator. And I found these very enjoyable. Just seeing teachers in action, kids in action, seeing the various buildings. We got to see the Greenwood recently, and just seeing the difference in that space versus some of the other schools we have in town. We can sit here and talk about the schools all day long, but nothing beats being able to see what's going on during a school day. So I've thoroughly enjoyed that, and just wanted to pass on that feedback. I will say, adding to what Kara had said earlier, heard some feedback yesterday. When is Wakefield going to make a decision on canceling school? And I heard a lot of that. And then I did get one parent who reached out to me, so I'm just passing on their feedback. Just disappointed that we didn't have school today. And clearly, unfortunately, meteorology is one of those things where you can fail miserably and still have a job the next day. And I would say that, our meteorologist kind of let us down on this storm. Our 8 to 12 inches turned into like a couple of snowflakes. But, maybe there's some learning here. I know this happened a couple of years ago where, we see a state of emergency. We see all these forecasts of a lot of snow, and then it turns out that there was nothing. So, it's easy to, in hindsight, as I said to the parent who reached out to me, to say, obviously, we should have had school today. And I know it's tough. Nobody wants to get that school cancellation call at 5 a.m. They all want to plan ahead of time. But maybe this is one of those things where, just a little more time, maybe even late into the evening or something else, we could have saved ourselves an extra day in June and maybe, had kids in school today. So I know we do our best. And there were only a few school districts who kind of got their crystal ball right this time. So we were certainly in the majority, but just something to continue to think about next time we get this prediction of some massive snowstorm that doesn't happen. So thank you.
Oh, thank you for sharing the parent feedback. Yes, Kevin?
So I totally agree with Pete. I think these school tours are probably my second favorite thing we do. The reading is my all-time favorite. So hopefully a PTO will hit us up. I'm looking at Stephen and his partner as maybe a possibility in over in Woodville again. But yeah, I think like Pete said, it's one thing to hear about what's going on. It's another to see it. It's been a very long time since I was in elementary school, and it always marvels me at just how different things are. And you can hear it. People can say like, "Oh, math is different," or the way the classrooms run is different. And until you actually see it, you don't nearly appreciate it. I wish I could make all of them, but did get to Dalbear and to Walton. And it always amazes me too, walking around Dalbear with TJ, with Mr. Liberti. He knew every single student that we ran into. This is a school of hundreds of students. And so just the teachers, the administration is just so impressive. And to see the way the cadence of the classrooms, we happen to see couple math lessons in particular. So it was neat seeing this curriculum and seeing the little things that they use to answer the question. It was very, very beneficial too. So I love it. Thank you, Kara, for arranging them, and hope we continue to do it as much as possible. And then the only other thing, my sound went out a little bit when Mr. Ingalls was reporting back. So I'm not sure if you already mentioned this already. I know the news had mentioned that Steve Mayo joined us on Saturday, and just wanted to thank him for taking the time out. Our town manager. It was great having him there. The information he presented, as he always does, was presented really, really well. And, I think it certainly was helpful to have him there. So, we have a great relationship, I think, with all of the boards and all of the people that work in the town. And I just really appreciate his participation, his willingness to be there for all 6 hours as well. And so thanks, Steve, for spending Saturday with us. I don't know if he'll ever come back, but it was a good time to have him there, and of course the outcome was perfect. So just want to thank everyone who was a part of that too. So I'm glad we're at the final stages of that. So thank you.
Thank you, Kevin. Any other closing comments?
Oh,
Go ahead.
I would, yeah, I should have said, thank you, exactly what you said, Kevin, to Steve and to all the boards, sort of as we go through budget and every facet of the other groups that sort of we touch come into play when we're talking about things like, impact on the community, with things as big as a contract. So yes, thank you for bringing that up. And the school tours have been awesome. I'm fortunate enough, like in my day job, to have some flexibility, so I get to go to a lot, and that's awesome. I noticed things like the different natural light that comes in different art rooms, and like what angle it comes in at, and how awesome that space must be. It's so cool. And the math instruction, after we just vote on sort of a change in curriculum, and then you see sort of this collaborative sort of working groups, everywhere from first grade to third to fourth, fifth. It's great to see sort of where the rubber meets the road. So thank you for hosting those, Kara. And getting everyone on board. It was great to see. And then in terms of the snow day, for whatever it was, I don't know. My kid was happy with a mental health day, and she was doing a happy dance. So glad that we weren't just going to start them back up when we didn't wake up to snow. So hopefully everyone had the same experience today. Maybe it wasn't all fluffy white stuff, but maybe everyone just got a reset day.
I did make a note to thank Stephen Mayo, so thank you, Kevin, for saying that. And then the other thing about the school tour is just how impressed I am with. I haven't made all of them, but the ones I did make, there were we start with like the student representatives and how poised they are, and they'll answer questions. They're very comfortable with showing adults around, and I like seeing that in every school, like develop leadership skills and things like that. So thank you for all the students for sharing the experience with us. If there are no other closing.
I was just
Okay.
gonna say the feedback on the school side too. Everyone was really excited to have all of you in their buildings. The principals I know don't always get a chance to really highlight their school, and so the feedback was really positive all around. Everybody was really excited after each of the visits, the kids especially.
We have one left, right? Just the high school?
Yep, we have the high school on March 1st.
Yep.
The morning of March 1st.
So my closing question is it Dole Bear or Doll Bear?
So
Go ahead.
I asked the question because there was actually a poll up at the school, which and it asked, how do you pronounce this? Is it Dole Bear or Doll Bear? And so I asked the former, I think it was the publisher of the Wakefield item, I'm like, how do you pronounce your last name? Because nobody knows how to pronounce the school name. And it is in fact Doll Bear, not Dole Bear.
Yes.
All right. There you go. I'm public
And
record now.
Not putting the wrong emphasis, not Dolbear. Some people say it like that. That's not how to say it.
Thank you.
Dolbear.
There no other closing comments? Do we have a motion to adjourn?
Sorry about that. Move that the school committee adjourn its meeting of Tuesday, February 13th, 2024.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded. Is there any discussion? Seeing none. Roll call, please, Judy.
Ms. Lehman,
Yes.
Mr. Davis,
Yes.
Ms. Colleran,
Yes.
Dr. Piscadlo,
Yes.
Mr. Ingles,
Yes.
Mr. Markham,
Yes.
Mr. Fontanella.
Yes.
Thank you. Passes unanimously. Thank you all for joining. See you back at school tomorrow. You don't need your snow boots.
Good night, all.
Good night.